What if one scientist could save millions of lives without ever meeting them? Imagine living in a world where a simple glass of milk could kill you. Where a tiny cut could become a death sentence. Where diseases spread silently because no one knew what caused them. Now imagine one man daring to challenge everything people believed. He couldn't see the enemy with his own eyes. But he proved it existed. His discoveries transformed medicine, food safety, and modern science forever. Every time you drink pasteurized milk, receive a life-saving vaccine, or trust a doctor to sterilize medical equipment, you are benefiting from his work. This is the extraordinary true story of Louis Pasteur, the scientist whose curiosity saved millions of lives. Stay until the very end, because his greatest experiment nearly ended in tragedy but became one of the greatest medical breakthroughs in history. A curious boy with big dreams. Louis Pasteur was born on December 27, 1822, in the small town of Dole, France. His father, Jean-Joseph Pasteur, had served as a soldier before becoming a leather tanner. He taught Louis the importance of discipline, honesty, and hard work. As a child, Louis wasn't considered a genius. He loved drawing and painting more than science. Teachers described him as quiet and thoughtful rather than brilliant. But Louis possessed one quality that would change the world. He paid attention. He noticed details others ignored. He believed every mystery had an answer if someone was patient enough to search for it. Finding his passion. As Louis grew older, his interests slowly shifted from art to science. He became fascinated by chemistry and the invisible forces shaping nature. He studied tirelessly and eventually earned admission to the prestigious École Normale Supérieure in Paris. Life wasn't easy. He missed his family. He worked long hours. Many experiments failed. But failure never discouraged him. Each mistake taught him something new. Louis believed that every unsuccessful experiment brought him one step closer to the truth. The mystery inside tiny crystals. Pasteur's first important discovery involved tiny crystals. While studying tartaric acid, he noticed something no one else had seen. The crystals looked almost identical. But under careful observation, they were mirror images of each other. This breakthrough helped scientists better understand molecular structure and launched Pasteur's scientific career. His success proved something important. Great discoveries often begin with careful observation. The invisible world. During the 1800s, many people believed food spoiled naturally. Others thought disease appeared out of thin air. Pasteur wasn't convinced. He suspected tiny living organisms were responsible. But how could he prove something invisible? He designed clever experiments using specially shaped flasks. He boiled nutrient broth to kill microorganisms. Air could still enter the flask. Dust-carrying microbes could not. Days passed. The broth remained perfectly clear. When he tilted the flask so dust reached the liquid, tiny organisms quickly appeared. Pasteur had demonstrated that microorganisms came from other microorganisms, not from spontaneous generation. Science had entered a new era, changing medicine forever. Pasteur's discoveries inspired a revolutionary idea. If invisible germs caused food to spoil, perhaps they also caused disease. This became known as the germ theory of disease. Many doctors were skeptical. At that time, surgeons often operated without washing their hands. Medical instruments were reused without proper cleaning. Hospitals unknowingly spread deadly infections. Pasteur urged doctors to sterilize equipment and maintain cleanliness. Slowly, evidence proved he was right. Countless lives were saved. Making food safer. French farmers soon faced another crisis. Wine and beer frequently spoiled before reaching customers. The losses were enormous. Pasteur investigated. Once again, microorganisms were responsible. He discovered that gently heating liquids could kill harmful microbes without ruining the flavor. Today we call this process pasteurization. Soon it was applied to milk and many other foods. Millions of families could finally enjoy safer food and drink. His name became part of everyday life. Saving the silk industry. Another disaster threatened France. Silkworms were dying from mysterious diseases. The silk industry was collapsing. Pasteur carefully examined thousands of silkworms under the microscope. He identified infected worms and showed farmers how to prevent the disease from spreading. His methods rescued an entire industry. Once again, careful observation solved a problem that had seemed impossible. The search for vaccines. Pasteur now turned toward one of humanity's greatest enemies, infectious disease. He wondered whether weakened germs could train the body to fight deadly infections. His team experimented with chicken cholera. One day, an old bacterial culture was accidentally used. Unexpectedly, the chickens became only mildly sick. Later, when exposed to fresh, deadly bacteria, they survived. The accident revealed an extraordinary truth. A weakened germ could protect against a stronger one. The modern science of vaccination took a giant leap forward. The race against rabies. Pasteur's greatest challenge was rabies. Rabies was terrifying. Once symptoms appeared, survival was extremely rare. People lived in constant fear of infected animal bites. After years of research, Pasteur developed an experimental rabies vaccine. But there was one problem. It had never been tested on a human. Then, in 1885, a desperate mother arrived with her 9-year-old son, Joseph Meister. The boy had been severely bitten by a rabid dog. Without treatment, he would almost certainly die. Pasteur faced an impossible decision. Use the experimental vaccine, or watch the child lose his life. The most important decision. Pasteur was not a medical doctor. He knew the risks. If the vaccine failed, he could face enormous criticism. But doing nothing guaranteed tragedy. With great care, Pasteur administered a series of injections. Each day, the world waited. The boy survived. Weeks passed. He remained healthy. The vaccine had worked. News spread across Europe. People traveled from distant countries hoping Pasteur could save their loved ones. His laboratory became a place of hope. Worldwide recognition. Pasteur's achievements transformed medicine forever. Scientists from around the world admired his work. Hospitals adopted cleaner practices. Vaccination expanded rapidly. Food safety improved dramatically. The invisible world of microbes was no longer mysterious. Thanks to Pasteur, humanity finally understood one of its greatest enemies. The Pasteur Institute. In 1888, the Pasteur Institute opened in Paris. Its mission was simple: advance scientific research, develop vaccines, fight infectious diseases. Today, the institute remains one of the world's leading centers for medical research. Its work continues, saving lives more than a century later. A legacy that lives every day. Louis Pasteur passed away on September 28, 1895. But his discoveries never faded. Every hospital that sterilizes equipment. Every child protected by vaccines. Every bottle of pasteurized milk. Every laboratory studying infectious diseases carries a piece of his legacy. His work has helped save millions, perhaps billions of lives. Final message. Louis Pasteur once said, "Chance favors the prepared mind." His life proved those words. He wasn't lucky because accidents happened. He succeeded because he was prepared to recognize opportunity when it appeared. He asked questions others ignored. He trusted evidence over assumptions. He refused to stop searching for answers. His discoveries remind us that even the smallest invisible things can change the world. And so can one determined person. The next time you pour a glass of milk, receive a vaccine, or hear about scientists working to stop dangerous diseases, remember Louis Pasteur, the quiet young man who looked through a microscope and helped save millions of lives. Because every great breakthrough begins with curiosity. And the next discovery that changes the world may begin with someone asking, why? The end.